Dark Star, Keegan Bradley is the new captain of the US Ryder Cup squad, headed to Bethpage next year. To say it was a surprise would be doing the word surprise a disfavor. I think everyone was shocked that Keegan Bradley would be named. I was like, what? Keegan Bradley, really? But it says a lot about Tiger Woods, says a lot about the depth of the potential captains for the U.S. squad. There isn't any. There's a lot of things to cover here. Let's get to it. What was your reaction to this appointment?
Well, this is a hope for me, a dream scenario. That Keegan Bradley comes in and completely makes so the PGA of America and the PGA Tour become completely separate again. Because I think Seth Waugh left because he was trying to almost merge them. He capitulated to everything the PGA Tour wanted them to do. And the PGA of America, and you and I have talked to some local pros, they hate the PGA of America. Now it's become an anti-local pro situation. So I hope Keegan Bradley comes in. He takes the Ryder Cup back, snatches it away from the PGA Tour and says, here's what we're going to do, guys. Oh, and by the way, I'm going to appoint Phil Mickelson as my co-captain, which would be the greatest thing ever. And if PGA guys, if Justin Thomas and Jordan Spieth don't want to play for me, fine. Screw you. We're taking the Ryder Cup back. We're taking the PGA championship back. We're going to turn it back into the major, move the thing back to August. This is what I hope the PGA of America wakes up and goes, their alliance with the PGA Tour was a terrible thing. Just like the DP Tour is finding out, yeah, you gave us $100 million over X amount of years and you're screwing us, taking our top 10 players and turning us into a minor tour. So that's my dream. That's my hope that somebody at the PGA of America woke up and said, hey, screw these guys of the PGA Tour. You know, they left us Jack and Arnie left us. They either come back into the fold or we're going to start doing our own thing again. What's best for the average pro and what's best for our tournament and what's best for the Ryder Cup. So
you think
and I like the Keegan Bradley pick.
Yeah, so
because he is an outsider.
You're saying that Bradley being appointed the captain is a slap from the PGA of America to the PGA Tour. Is that what you're saying?
110%.
Because they are separate entities. For those of you that like to comment, yes, we're quite aware that the PGA of America is a different group than the PGA Tour. But what you're saying, what you're asserting is that, like many things in life, although these entities are separate, distinct organizations, true, they seem to function as a uniparty in a lot of ways. So that the P-Gate guys in our last show, we asserted that the P-Gate guys may be putting out a lot of influence that's directing the PGA of America in certain ways, and that perhaps Seth Waugh didn't like that and left for that reason. It's one of the options that's available for why he would leave, and it's possible now that PE is into the PGA Tour at P-Gate, that somebody at the PE group, SSG, Strategic Sports Group, is asking what PE guys always ask, which is, why are you doing it that way? That looks expensive. Or, why are you doing it that way? We don't have control. Well, but that the other company owns all that. Well, we need that. I mean, the PE guys ask questions because they have a very different agenda usually than the guys that have been there already. And is that going on? Well, I would expect the Strategic Sports Group guys to be throwing their weight around and asking a lot of questions like that. Like, why are you doing it this way? Why does the PGA of America getting our players to play in the Ryder Cup and we don't get squat? That thing makes $100 million gross. Why aren't we getting some of that? Well, what's going on here? Well, that's the way it works. Well, that's crap. It's not the way it's going to work going forward. Why would we do that? They're our players. We're a for-profit company. Those guys work for us, not for them. Well, but they own the Ryder Cup. Well,
yeah,
get them on the phone. I think
what you're going to see in this upcoming Ryder Cup is Bradley's going to actually pick guys, hopefully, that actually want to play in the Ryder Cup. Because the reason we go over to Europe and lose every time is not because they're more talented, not because it's such a great home course advantage. It's because our guys don't give a shit. They go over there with their wives and their girlfriends, and they party, and they go to Wimbledon. What is it? Jordan Spieth, I don't think, took a practice round. He didn't show. Two of our guys didn't show up to the mandatory practice round in Rome. Really? I can't comprehend that. So you really didn't.
They didn't have time, Dark Star. Really, no time on the schedule. As Tiger Woods is now. I don't have time to be captain.
Yeah. So it's shocking to me to even hear that. Well, why are we even? As I said, why are we even having the Ryder Cup? We don't care about it. Scotty Scheffler was in a swing. Remember when Phil Mickelson changed equipment and was in a swing change, and we got beat like 18.5 to whatever up in Detroit there. Scotty Scheffler was going through something. These guys shouldn't even been on the team. Spieth, Thomas, Scheffler, they shouldn't have been on the team, let alone, and they didn't care. They're over there with their wives. They're partying in Italy. They had no interest in winning. So that's the second hope. It actually becomes competitive and people care about winning. The Euros, they kind of care about winning. And as I think it was it McGinley who pointed out, the U.S., since we end our tour now because we don't care about because we're so afraid to compete against football, they end their season in the middle of August, and the Ryder Cup's not for 6 weeks later, so they don't play competitive golf for 6 weeks. And that was one thing that, the European people point out, hey, you guys aren't going to be ready. You can't beat us. We're playing competitive golf pretty much right up till the Ryder Cup. So many things go on. But I think, we want to get back to focusing on the fact that, in my opinion, this is the PGA of America, the shot over the bow, saying to the PGA Tour, listen, this is our thing. We own all the pros. We own the PGA Championship. Stop telling us what to do.
Teaching pros, you mean?
Teaching pros, yeah. And the teaching pros have been pissed at the PGA of America.
Well, we've heard that they don't, the rank and file, let's just call them that. The rank and file teaching pro is not a Seth Waugh supporter. And so perhaps that's another option on those lists of options. It could be the reason, or some combination, all the above, that Seth was forced out because the rank and file don't like him, don't want to follow his lead, although, I don't know how much power they really have, but some maybe. To
give Seth some credit, I think he was in an untenable situation where he was trying to smooth things out between the PGA Tour, the SSG group, the PGA of America, and it was an untenable position. And he's sitting down there at his country clubs talking to Ed and Jimmy at Seminole going, hey, guys, this is terrible, isn't it? This is not working out. And they're like, well, you should jump ship like we did, and who wants to spend my next decade dealing with this crap?
Apparently not those guys. Or they were either they just didn't care anymore to be in the fight, or they see the fight as unwinnable, or a combination of those things. It's interesting. I don't know that it's been rumored and floated and of course confirmed, I guess, that they offered the job to Tiger, and Tiger said, I've looked at my schedule. I simply don't have time. I mean, I play golf and I have 4 of those things a year that I have to be ready for. I mean, that's a lot. And I have to practice, twice a week. For that, and so I'm busy, and then I have a board meeting once in a while that I have to attend. My schedule's full. I mean, I don't have any room I barely can get to the grocery store. So he can't do it. Had nothing to do with the potential, of losing on home soil and how that would maybe damage my reputation.
Yeah, as we discussed previously, the real answer to that is, well, I'm trying to destroy the LIV Golf.
Well, that's in it too. Well, let's set up. You answer that one. Let me set up for you this way. Audience, this is the way I want to set it up. Here's Tiger's thinking about the captaincy, which he knows he can have at any time. He can be captain whenever he wants. He just simply has to say, I'm ready. And the PGA of America will anoint him the captain of the Ryder Cup team. So that's a fact. And he's right. So when he looks at it, he says simply the same question that Tiger always asks himself. No matter what it is, if he's got something in front of him that's an opportunity, be it a romantic opportunity, winning a golf tournament, something like this Ryder Cup captaincy, being on the board of the tour, you name it. Here's the question. What's in it for me? How does this help me? Okay, enough about me. What do you think how this will help me? You know, that's him. Okay, perfect.
Yes.
He's an easy guy to read. And when he said, Ryder Cup captain this time around at Bethpage, we just lost in Rome. I'm now at P-Gate trying to really run golf globally and get rid of LIV. And still get some PIF money maybe somehow. Maybe if I can pull that off. But anyway, I can't have LIV, and I can't have those LIV players at the Ryder Cup. No. What's in this for me? So how did he address that, Dark Star, do you think? What was the calculation? It was a pretty simple calculation, I think.
Right. Well, the point is there's no upside. It's going to be a home game. We have to win. There's only downside. If we lose, I'm going to look terrible. And I don't want to have to pick the Keegan Bradleys. I don't want to have to pick the Bryson DeChambeaus or the Brooks Koepkas because I'm trying to destroy LIV. So there's zero upside. So I think the real issue is why the quote-unquote naming of the captaincy was delayed is because, yes, Seth Waugh was kind of on the way out. He probably had a couple last-ditch efforts to secure any confidence at the PGA of America, which he was unable to do. And Tiger kept kind of probably stringing him along because Tiger kept talking to his agents and talking to, people that are in his inner circle. And it's like, he couldn't find any upside, certainly not enough upside to take any chance at all.
Yeah, ask you a question. All right, go ahead, finish your thought. I might ask you a question.
Well, and then the other thought is, too, remember, Tiger was not at the Ryder Cup in Rome. Zach Johnson kind of inferred that, well, Tiger's a vital point. Well, why isn't Tiger there if he's a vital point? And I think, let's face it, Zach Johnson, Fred Couples, Davis Love, Stuart Sink, all the names bantered around, they all have one thing in common, and that's a low IQ. I mean, Fred Couples, in my opinion, and everybody loves Freddie, but
not the ex-wife, not so much her.
He's basically up there with some of the great underachievers in the history of sport. Let's face it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's maybe fair.
His talent,
how many majors has he won?
He won one.
One.
Yeah.
The small field one.
He won the one small field one. That is correct.
Mm-hmm. Which is the one to win. I mean, arguably the greatest one to win. But
sure,
it is the smallest field.
Yeah, and
just saying.
To be honest with you, Mark O'Meara had commented multiple times that Freddie really shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame.
Has he said that?
And I think that's why Mark O'Meara has exiled himself to ski country.
Yeah, he lives in Park City area.
Yeah. So, obviously, anyway. So, you got to get somebody in there with some, and Keegan Bradley grew up a golfer. Obviously, his aunt's a star, and I don't know his IQ, but at least he's got the passion, and he will certainly, if he doesn't actually name Mickelson a co-captain, he will certainly take his consult and go from there.
That's interesting. Yeah, I guess you won't see Keegan get a contract offer from LIV at this point, one that he can accept anyway. That's an interesting element. Pat Bradley is Keegan's aunt. What a great, nice person Pat Bradley is.
Yeah.
Really nice. I've met her many times. Super nice lady. And a player. I have a question for you. You ready?
I'm ready.
And audience. I'll ask the audience first, Dark Star, then I'm going to come to you.
Okay. Did
Seth Waugh, the former CEO of the PGA of America, which is different than the PGA Tour, Dark Star, did Seth want Tiger Woods to be the Ryder Cup captain?
Ready?
I'm ready. Lay it on me.
Yeah, he did. He was the go-between. Seth Waugh saw himself as the go-between between the PGA Tour and the PGA of America. And I think that's why ultimately he was out. He did truly feel that there needs to be some type of merger. And I think in his discussions with Tiger, and they were short, he would bring that up and Tiger would say, go screw yourself. That's not happening. And I think when I saw his interviews at the PGA Championship whether he was talking about the ball rollback or he was talking about is there an avenue for LIV guys, he was truly trying to do what's best for golf. And he could not say what he wanted to say in public. As you know, we could ask a million guys what's really going on, and nobody's going to tell us exactly what is going on.
Very few people tell the truth. Correct. That's why I have analysts.
Yeah, I know. I got to stop doing that. That's a problem I have, as we know. Yeah. Anyway, the point being, sure, he wanted Tiger because he wanted Tiger to unify Tour, LIV, PGA of America, bring everybody back under one roof, and it's not going to happen. Too many people have their hand out. Too many people are dipping into the cookie jar. That's never happening. And I think that's where Seth, when he had those final discussions with Tiger, he was like, "Yeah, I'm done. I can't do anything." You know.
Yeah, I have a different take on that. I think you might be correct in that Seth wanted Tiger or was complacent with having Tiger be captain. But that's different than wanting him to be captain. Since Seth has come out and I think made no bones about it. We had said in our last show, he is a pro unification. Let's say that. Doesn't mean he agrees on every little thing or even some of the big items, but I am pro unification. We'll leave it right there for this free preview of our Inner Circle podcast. Please join us. Click the upgrade button in the email you received or on the podcast page and get the rest of this episode and all our Inner Circle shows right here on the Thinking Man Inner Circle podcast, unfiltered and off script.